Of Ian as a weirdo. Today we are going to work on finishing some orders. You okay? Okay. Um, so I was planning on working on them today in between doctor's appointments, but I was so busy in between that I just stayed out the whole time that I didn't get to work on them. So we're gonna work on them. Now, I have mentioned before that this is the era of trans stripe packers. People are very intrigued by them, which I find great. I think that's awesome. I love people getting excited about getting the packer that they want. But literally, I think when this is all said and done, like the orders that I have, I will have like maybe I don't know, 7 or 8 trans stripe packers in a row, which is ridiculous. It's a lot. So, I'm working on a packer right now, which has really inspired me. So, one of the things I like to do, and points of my business, is I like to make sure that I am being as inclusive as possible. I really like to make sure that I am making stuff for people who they actually want to use. And so I don't think this is a breach of like you know maker and order confidentiality, but someone contacted me that and when they placed their order, they were like, "Hey, I'm in a wheelchair." So they just gave me that note, and I reached out to them and was like, "Hey, like, thank you for including that." And I kind of told them the typical measurements of like the width of like the scrotum, and I was like, I have a thought, and if you don't like it, that's totally fine. But I was like, the width of the standard packer is about 4 inches wide and 4 inches long. And I was like, and this helps accommodate for like, this works with I guess, just like an average person's stride. But if you were sitting all the time, you might want something thinner. So when your thighs are pressed together, you're not like, well, this is a huge monstrosity. So it was like I could make it thinner, like same length, I think would be fine, but just something thinner, like 3 inches instead of 4 inches. And they were super excited about that. So it was like it got me thinking, like, what if I made a listing especially for like custom like built packers for people who are looking for um, accessibility to uh, trans friendly and gender affirming items, but they aren't built the same as like what the packer pattern is for, right? So I was like, okay, well, this could be really cool. So that makes me really excited to kind of explore options, and really use my very small but I guess, platform to create um, some positive uh, help for people who want these items, but they need some adjustment for their personal needs. So it's got me super excited, and yeah, so that is what I'm working on right now. This packer is about 3 inches at its widest, and I'm just trying to make sure that we still get the shape, but I have the appropriate amount of uh, of why is she coughing so much? Make sure that uh, we are getting to the right number of stitches for the shaft to be the right width. And you know what I need to do? So I just had to restart my computer. And sometimes it's like, oh, restore tabs, like whatever. And for some reason, this time in particular, it was like, no, you don't get to restore your tabs. And I'm like, motherfucker. are. Um, so I need to message Kira. Let's see, subscriptions. Make sure that I'm muted so that you can't hear when I start video. I'm so tired. So for me, it's good to be live. But I definitely need to, gosh, where is Kira? Because we need to get into contact about making this thing that I want to do. Is that my cat meowing? What is happening? The fuck? She posts videos all the time. I need, why is this happening? And I don't remember the full name of her channel because I'm an asshole. So I can't just search for it like a normal person. Well, hopefully she comes up in the chat today, and if not, I can find her channel. Hi, Lydia. Welcome in. I am working on a custom packer. Like I said earlier, this is for someone who is in a wheelchair. So we talked about what their, what might be best for them in their, hi, welcome in, for their specific needs. And so I adjusted the packer pattern to fit their body, hopefully a little bit more, because that's really what we want to consider, right? We want to make things that work for people, right? We want them to be able to use it. We want it to be comfortable. We want it to be what it's intended to be. So it's really inspired me to, I don't know, just be a little bit more like, I don't know. I think I'm going to create a custom listing that is for like, just like accessibility. I don't know how I'm going to word it. But okay, and let's see what we're doing. Measurements here. There's a measuring tape right there. Okay. So we're at a little over 3 inches. So one of the things that I need to make sure of is that we are at the right stitch count. So I'm going to decrease here. How am I feeling? I'm feeling okay. Honestly, I'm very tired, very exhausted. I had 2 doctor's appointments today, and they were about 3 hours apart. But because I was already out, I wanted to stay out, so I tried to stay busy. And like, man, I'm tired. And the second appointment was such a waste of time. How are you feeling, Lydia? I know you've been having some trouble. Um, so I had my post-op for my gallbladder surgery today, and so I had to drive to North Raleigh, which is about 45 minutes away from me, right? And I had to drive all the way up there, even though I had had my surgery maybe 15, 20 minutes away from me, in Cary, because this is where like the surgeons do their post-ops, right? And I was like, this is stupid, but okay, I'll do it. And like, it's important to do the post-op, make sure you're healing properly, everything like that. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I went to my post-op. Like, I literally lifted my shirt like up to under my chest because that's where all my incisions are. Um, and uh, the doctor was like, "Okay, everything looks good. You feeling fine?" And I was like, "I'm having some like, like digestion irritation stuff like that." He was like, "Oh yeah, that's normal." And like that, and then my he was like, "Any more questions?" I was like, "I guess not." And then that was it. Drove, and there was so much traffic, and it was just like such a pain in the ass to get there to go to my next stop. And then, like, it was literally like a 5-minute appointment. I was like, this is so dumb. We could have done this virtually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stomach is still hurting. I'm so sick. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You poor thing. You've had a tough run of it in the medical department. Really hope that they can figure out what's going on and make you feel better. Yeah, I definitely feel for you. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I really hope they can take care of that for you and make you feel better. I like that. One of the things I did today was go to Joanne, which, like, I know it's kind of like, it's always like, am I gonna blow my money here? and, and I didn't buy any yarn. I only bought two things. I bought this like LED light strip, which Mel and I have a project that we wanted to do together. Um, that we needed lights for, and it was on clearance. So it was like super cheap and it's very long. And I was like, this is perfect for what we need. And then uh, I bought a small piece of fabric to start trying to make some bra inserts for trans people, drag performers, anyone who wants it, people who've had a mastectomy. Um, just to make people feel good. Um, and then I also want to um, start working on my tugging panties. I have so many orders right now. Um, so I just need to like get these done and then I can start working on some more like experimental patterns and stuff like that. Because that's what I'm really excited about, but I just don't really have time to do it. And then they do my colon. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the gut is such a sensitive thing that, like, once, like, one thing goes off, like, literally, it can cause, like, a chain reaction. And it can be so much, or it can be so, like, little, but, like, it still hurts so bad. I'm honestly the biggest baby when it comes to stomach aches. which is why when I had my gallbladder attacks, like, I was like, maybe I'm just being a huge baby, but like, this feels like someone is like, it feels like I am gonna have like a chest burster from Alien come out of my stomach. And it just felt like stabbing pain. It was rough, and I don't wish that on anyone. So, no matter what your stomach feels like, I hope that it gets better. Yeah, I know the prep for doing colonoscopy, I've heard, is very intense, but worth it to make sure there's nothing going on in there. Because a lot of things can, like I said, like even small things can make such a big difference in your gut biome and your colon, and like your whole digestive system is like really prone to just fucking up, especially as we get a little older. And I'm not calling you old because I'm just saying it for myself. It's like all the things we were able to do and eat as kids, like really catch up. So I don't have my gallbladder. It's been out for 7. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah, it. I get it. That is, yeah, and I have had a pretty tough recovery. So, um, like everything I told the doctor was, he was like, yeah, that's normal, that's normal, that's normal, and then he just like sent me out the door, and I was like, why did I drive up here? This is so stupid. This is so stupid. Um, but yeah, so my neck is like killing me because I was so stressed out. I was about to have like a nervous breakdown today. I like traffic was so bad, and I guess the president was in Raleigh, which is kind of like the the most metropolitan area, and then I was in like different parts of the metropolitan area, um, and and so like they had like so many road closings, but like obviously Google did not know that, and so it just kept on directing me into places that were closed, and I was running out of gas in my car, and I was like, I'm gonna run out of gas and get stuck, and it's gonna be a nightmare. So luckily that didn't happen, but I was so stressed. I was like, I'm about to lose my shit. I called Mel and she asked how I was doing, and I was like, I'm like very close to being like, I'm just gonna go in a place and start ripping shit off those walls. Just like, I don't know why, but destruction is like a very cathartic experience for me. Blame it on my childhood if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down here. Boo. Okay, and then let's kind of see where we're at in this department. Okay, I think I went a little bit past what I wanted to, but that's okay. I'm just gonna take these stitches out. Are you working on any crochet projects right now, Lydia? I know it's hard when you don't feel well, so If you're not, that's totally fine, but just curious because I know you make some beautiful, beautiful work. I know when my gallbladder was acting up, I couldn't even think about crocheting. I just was in so much pain that I was just trying to sleep as much as possible to avoid being awake and in pain. Okay, let me see how many stitches I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So now we have the scrotum done, and it is. I don't have another packer to compare it to, but usually my packer is about the width is about an inch wider at the base, and it kind of tapers more. But with this, I wanted to keep it pretty slender so it fit comfortably in that position, in a seated position, and it wouldn't like bulk up or do anything weird. Um, Shoulders are so tight. Okay, so I'm gonna undo this stitch so I can change colors. This is gonna be a 3-inch light fill packer. What I'm gonna do is over my clothes, so obviously I don't want to put it under my clothes because that is weird and kind of gross to like put something on your body on someone else's body. Um, like in an intimate place. So I am going to make sure that it looks like it would be comfortable, sit right, all of that stuff for this person because obviously I want them to have the best experience possible. So I put some stuff out on Facebook Marketplace to see if I could get any hits. And I've had a couple messages, but nothing like too substantial just yet. But today, so I had like a listing that was like $1, but it just said handmade crochet items. Like I can make mostly anything. So if you tell me what you want to make, I can give you a price and like timeline and all that stuff, right? So this person reached out. They wanted a granny square baby blanket, and I was like, I hate granny squares. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. They sent me a picture of exactly what they wanted it to look like. We started talking about. I was like, "Do you want those colors?" They wanted those colors, so I tried to find something similar in my stash, which turns out I don't have a lot of blues, but I'm not gonna go buy more. Um, but then I started, we got past like the initial stuff, and then it was like, okay, well, here's the thing. It's gonna take about 3 to 4 weeks. Do you want it shipped or do you want to pick up? That kind of thing. And then they're like, oh, I actually need it in like less time. So sorry for wasting your time. And I was like, wait, so like what time do you need it in? And they're like, 1 week. And I was like, I can't do that. I have so many orders right now. I Even if I wanted to, I couldn't do that. But I hate granny squares so much that like that would be like so much suffering on my part. So it just wasn't reasonable, and I was just like, hey, like, is this for a baby shower? I was like, if you don't want to do this, I understand, but I have an idea if you wanted to get this blanket custom made. Because I was like, I don't think anybody's going to be able to do it in a week. And also, like, if you're just trying to find something, um, if you want something handmade, like, it's probably going to take more than a week, and especially if you want it shipped. And so, I don't think a lot of people would put like those type of timelines. If they did, they would charge out the ass for it. And so I was like, do you have a baby shower or something? And they were like, yeah, I do. And yeah, I want this. And I was like, so here's an idea. I was like, I can make a card that has like a stork on it that I can make like a mini version of the blanket, like this big, and then have a note, like a handwritten note, like, oh, sorry, the stork picked up the wrong size blanket. The 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 like the size that you wanted is coming soon or something. Just something to kind of like be like, hey, like I get it. I'm getting it. Something custom made for you, but those things take time. And they were like not interested, and I was like, okay, well, I can't help you. So it was hard to have like a bite and do all that work, and then like once you tell them your turnaround time, they're not into it. Hey, Winter. Yeah, so I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna make a baby blanket in a week, especially when I have like 5 orders to make. Um, and I'm not gonna set that expectation for myself. I don't think that's reasonable. I set my timelines very deliberately because I give myself time to have like mental breakdowns and stuff like that. That is something that I have to do for myself because I never know when I'm going to be feeling like crocheting or not feeling like crocheting. So I got to be careful about that. And even if this was a pickup, having it be in such a tight turnaround, I was like, no. What are you up to, Winter? Sorry I missed like all of your. I've been missing so many of your lives, but I try to make when I can. But like it's been so hard. It's been so hard because I've been so busy lately. So I'm sorry. I try to show up when I can, but I had a busy, busy, busy day, and I am exhausted. I am pretty much at like negative spoon level, where like I'm surprised. Like Mel was like, "You should go live," because I was like, "I'm between going live and like just like curling up on the couch and like crocheting and watching TV." And she was like, "You're gonna fall asleep the minute that you would like try to relax at all." And I was like, "You're right." So she suggested to go live, and I was like, "All right, I will do that." What have you been working on, Winter? Yeah, sorry, I've been just kind of out of the world for a bit. Oh, my back is killing me. Putting together your very late Halloween blanket. I saw the thumbnail for that. I gotta rewatch that. Um, because I definitely want to see that Halloween blanket. As you know, I am also a fan of Halloween. I always feel like I get like weird looks when I wear Halloween shirts. Well, I mean, like I have bright green hair, so like maybe who knows? Acne all over mine. Oh, it says big trick energy instead of other things, you know. Um, but yeah, so I I bought this shirt, thought it was hilarious, and I bought it at Spirit like a couple years ago. I thought it was hilarious, and then I got home and I was like, this is probably very stupid and will be very like outdated language in like no time, but who cares? There's a pumpkin on it, and I really like the black with the seams or whatever, the collar and the cuffs being orange. I think that's really cool. I could just do without the words and just have a pumpkin. Big eggplant energy. Exactly. Exactly. We promote vegetables on this channel, even though there's a lot I can't eat because the texture grosses me out. I've been trying to like experiment more, eat a more diverse uh, palette lately. This is like my personal work through RFID. And like, I'm not saying that this is like reasonable for everyone, depending on the severity of your food sensitivity. But for me, I was like, you know what? I think that like I can try to like start on my channel, but not so much vegetables. Yeah, I think you might be their number one fan, but that's okay. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're the only Skinny Puppy fan that I know, and therefore it seems like you. I don't know, but you're allowed to be the biggest fan. Whatever. Nothing for me seemed to help. Yeah, especially if you like gag or stuff like that. I feel like those things, like trying to like exposure therapy yourself, like that can be like very traumatizing. So like I totally understand why like that's not the case for everyone with like food sensitivity and RFID and things like that. But for me, I was like, you know what, like I've been able to eat these things before, and on to oh nice. Oh, is that how you all know each other? Um, but yeah, so what was I saying? I don't remember. Oh, but I was like, you know what? Like, I have been able to eat these textures before. I'm just gonna try to like ease back into them. I'm not gonna force myself when I don't feel like it. And I've been doing that. So sometimes I still eat primarily like pescatarian, and other times I'm like, you know what? I could probably try turkey or something. I don't know. And so sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I still have a very like sensitive palate to textures. And to know down in the live chat of your stream. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, it definitely seems like you all are like a skinny puppy family, which I'd love. I can't. Oh my gosh, I was looking for your channel name in my subscriptions, and I was like, I couldn't. I was like, I remember like that there was uh like a longer channel name, but I could not for the life of me remember like the full name. Okay, there we go. Because I'm like subscribed, but I was gonna message you. Um, let me let me see. Let's see. What videos do you have most recently? And then I'm gonna give you my email there, because I could put it up in the chat now. But I don't want you to lose it. So, like, I guess that's a thing, but I don't know. I feel like very feverish. I don't like it. Okay, so I am putting my email in your latest video, which is packing up chaos blankets for hashtag comfort for critters. I'm putting my email so that you can reach out to me um, for doing science. Ooh, that sounds fun. I have, wait, sorry. Let me go up. Okay. For me, it started so young that I don't know if I was ever able to eat all this stuff. My dad says I did, but he's an absolute piece of shit, so I don't know if I believe that. I gotta pirate the hubs and stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I should have put my Instagram on there. Yeah. Doing science, love that. Yeah, for me, I mean, obviously there's a mixture of like childhood trauma, but then I'm also just very texture sensitive, and my eating capabilities are not have not been consistent my whole life. As you see how big my brain thinks I am. That is a dangerous game if you're me, because my brain is like, nah, you are very skinny with a very disproportionate body. Um, I am very disproportionate, but it gets more proportionate by the day. Yes. Um, but I've been wanting to start working on drag costumes, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of costumes I can do, like, and make with like my pre-surgery body, because I want to start doing drag after my initial surgery, and I just like very like I don't know. I don't know. Comes and goes for some people too. Yeah, that's uh, yeah. There are things that are very distinctive and have always been. I'm on TPN nutrition, used to be pushing, now eating through a line in my chest into my heart. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's a lot. Hey Don, welcome in. Um, I don't know what TPN nutrition is, um, but wow, that sounds intense for sure. Um, like I've never liked the texture or the taste of like raw tomatoes or any kind of cucumber. I cannot do. There are things that have just been very specifically like I can't do that. Nuts, I've always hated the texture of nuts. It's like chalk to me. Most nuts. I can do like pistachios for some reason. Um, yeah, they were. Um, but like most nuts are like chalky to me. So, and they've always been like that. But more recently, I had like a flare up of my RFID where it was just like straight up like most meats. I was just like, nope, I can't really do that anymore. I don't want to. Just got it. Oh wow. I honestly like I've always said to me like just the smell of cucumbers gets me like oh like gets me gaggy. Like I've always said like no, the only food that you can eat that I will not kiss you after is if you eat cucumber, because it's so strong. And when people describe it, like it doesn't I don't get it in my brain because I'm a crushing daredevil on my channel. I love that. Well, you gotta be. That's what keeps it fun, right? Like if we crocheted the same thing all the time, and I don't know, that's not fun for me, but some people really like that. Some people like repetition, making similar items. I have just like, I've got it. do so. Slimy and gross, and why are the seeds like they are? Everything is gross. The skin is gross. No, I can't do that. But I can do salsa. I can do ketchup. I can do things like that. Um, but the no, nope. And cucumbers. When people are like, "Oh, it's like watermelon," like I like watermelon, but I don't eat close to the rind. And people are like it's close to the rind, and I'm like, that has always grossed me out. So I guess that makes sense. But when they're like, cucumbers are like watermelon, I'm like, go fuck yourself. No, they're not. One is delicious, one is really nasty. Don't tell me. Trying to slice them without the slime and seeds going everywhere. Yeah, I imagine. I don't think I've ever cut a tomato in my whole life. I'm not shitting you. Also, I can't even. Yeah, yeah. Mel has that too. It is not fun. She was on the what's it, low FODMAP diet. And then she started like building things back in. It was really informative for her to be able to figure out what like kind of triggered like certain stomach things for her. She found it really helpful. So I know that works for some people, but when you already have dietary restrictions, it's hard to tack on more, right? But like one thing for her was like onions, like cooked or non-cooked onions. Even green onions, if you get to like the white part, like she can't have any of the white part, just the green part, which is really interesting. And we would have never suspected the onions were like the culprit, but like adding that back in, she started to have stomach problems again. So I understand the struggle is real. I don't have it personally, but I've seen it personally. I know it's not fun for anybody involved. Crazy I thought that. Yeah, I guess so. It's it's so bizarre to me because it's like I feel like low FODMAP is, hey Jetten, welcome. Everyone's hanging out, love it. Um, we're talking about things, but like it's like low FODMAP is like probably one of the most like counterintuitive diets, I guess, because you're like, this is healthy for me, it should be good, and then it's like terrible. My anxiety is lower, but most of the time, yeah. Well, anxiety and like the gut health are like crazy, crazy, crazy connected. So I did like a stripe too long. I've been doing like 5 and 7 inch trans stripe packers. So doing a 3 inch, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why is everything so small? Okay, so I'm going to put this back in the bag, and I have my stuffing not in here, of course. Um, so I'm just gonna work on finishing this one up, and then I'll go get my stuffing. Digestion's not, yeah, because your body's like, oop, let's do things. Let's focus on surviving. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have crazy high anxiety, probably some of the highest anxiety of most people I know. And not that it's a contest, because it all sucks. Um, but uh, but I managed to skip out on that one, so I just had a bum gallbladder. Well, my gallbladder was fine. It's just the stomach's were. That's probably me. and I'm weaving in my ends. I feel like weaving in ends on cotton, like it just never looks as clean. Like even if I snip it really well, it's just really hard to get those little ends in, and you can't really work with that. So, anywho, working on another transpacker, doing things and stuff. Calling nightmare. I'm like accurate. I love that. I mean, it makes sense because winter is also like a what's the word? An adjective. So the most well, it's not the most awkward thing to ever happen in a uh, uh, doctor's office, but like one of the things happened today where I have a skin condition called hidradenitis suppurativa, or HS for short. You might have seen commercials for it. And it's basically like where you get acne to like cystic acne on like all of your hormonal parts of your body. Um, this is not related. This is all testosterone. Um, but occasionally you get like a really bad flare. Sometimes you have to go to like, you know, a family doctor or something to get something excised. Like it's a little intense. So like I started going to a new dermatologist because I haven't gone to one since I moved. But I set the appointment in October, and they didn't have an opening until January today. And so I had like a cyst forming. It was really bad then, and I couldn't get in to see anyone quickly. But I also knew that maybe it didn't need to be like excised quite yet. Might be able to like self-resolve. Um, so I get it on my underarms, and I get it on my groin and like my butt. and and so this yeah, it's not fun. It's not cute. It's not very glamorous, which I know shatters the view that you all had of me, that I am super glamorous. Um, and so I don't get breakouts all the time, thank goodness. I get like small ones, but I try to resolve them before they get bad. But I've been wanting to kind of see a derm so that like when things do pop off, I can do something about them. So it took me a while to get in, and then this woman comes in. So the PA is female presenting, and I tell them about like what is going on. I tell them about where because that was my primary concern, was working with my HS, and I tell them where I get it, and I'm like, it's in my groin. And so um, so the doctor comes in shortly after. So like the PA leaves, and I'm like, usually they have me like disrobe and I'll have like a paper gown or something, but this person didn't say anything, so they just like left me fully clothed. And then the doctor and the PA come back in. They're talking to me, and the doctor's like, "Okay, well, let's look at things." And I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, do you want me to take off all my clothes right here, like right now, while you're in the room? And so like I like undressed, like I kept my shirt on. And I was like, my underarms are fine, and I was like, I'm way too dysphoric about my chest right now. I was like, even if I had like things popping off up in here, I was like, I was like, just like look at my sleeve, or I don't know, whatever. But like I was like, I so and like and this maybe isn't like a big deal, but like the the doctor is Muslim, and so I know that there's like things about like men looking at women in a lot of those cultures, and but it's never like the other way around. So like I knew maybe that shouldn't have been an issue for me, but it still was kind of like a point where I was like, I feel like, I just feel like there's like points where I'm like, this is like, this is something about it was like not braining, right? And so I literally had to take off my pants and my underwear while they were staring at me, and then they handed me a paper towel. And I was like, this is so fucking weird. Uh, yeah, I remember like one time like so I used to wax and I used to wax like intimate areas and all kinds of eyebrows and everything. Um and like I was a waxer, I guess I should say. And one time this Muslim woman came in, and this is when I was female presenting. I did not know I was trans. And she took off her headscarf, and I was like, I shouldn't be seeing this. I like couldn't I felt like guilty. Um growth because I'm always so self conscious about after seeing that. Yeah, it's just like, it's it's more so like I'm just like I don't want to show a lot of people my genitals, and I'm not like super happy with them, so I just kind of wish that that didn't happen. But yeah, it was very weird. And like anytime you have to disrobe and someone's in the room, like when we were waxing, we would be in the room when people were changing or like removing clothes, but we were taught to turn our backs so that they would feel more comfortable getting undressed and getting on the table so we could just go do our job. We'd make it very professional. But they were literally staring at me, talking to me while I was changing my clothes, while I was removing my clothes. And I was like, this is fucking weird. Has that happened to anyone else? It's not the most awkward, but like it is like a little awkward when you just like, especially if you're trans or you're, it just is just a pretty weird little thing that happened. So they should have looked away, right? I don't think they had any intention of being rude. Also, for some reason, I had built up in my mind that I was going to the gynecologist for some reason instead of a dermatologist, because like you usually don't take your pants off for dermatology. um, but unless they're doing like skin checks on everything. Come on. Yeah. I mean, I could have asked them to leave, but like I mean, they were nice, so I just felt like I just was like, but I did kind of make it very clear that I was very uncomfortable with this situation. I was like, you want me to take off my pants right now, like, because like I feel like you should make it very clear what you're about to do, that you're not about to like strip in front of people for no reason. It's like, yeah, I have really bad acne on my face. Let me take off my pants. So what I'm going to do is, because I haven't put any stuffing in this, I'm going to not finish the head of it until I'm, um, or work on the head until I'm reunited with my stuffing, and I'll just start on another. Oh shit, I can't because the glue. Whatever. I'll start something else. Also, I'm really, really confused about this order that I have on Etsy. So someone has ordered a dual pride cardigan from me, and I'm super excited about it. And when I asked them, they were like, uh, I was like, what size? Okay, yeah, go ahead, get something to eat, take care of your tum tum. Um, but I was like, hey, just for size reference, because I have a picture of me in it, and I was like, this is my size. Is this size appropriate for your needs? And they were like, well, this is for my kiddo. They're about a 3X. And so I reached back out and I was like, okay, like, just making sure. Um, someone to eat. Um, so they were like, yeah, my kiddo, or like my kid, and then they said 3X. And so I reached back out to them and I was like, hey, like, I'm sorry to keep reaching out, but I just wanted to verify something because I kind of had a thought later on. And I was like, because of the way that we do the hexagon cardigans, um, like, they, you know, as the size gets bigger, the arm length gets bigger, the length on the body gets bigger. So I was like, hey, like, can you take some measurements for me? I was like, shoulder to where you want it to sit, and then like neckline to like wrist. And they were like, I ordered. So they were like, they're like, I'm confused. I ordered, um, I ordered a cardigan for my friend, and and then I ordered something for my kid, and they were like, at first they were like, is it is it the rainbow and trans cardigan? And yeah, exactly. And I don't want to just make something bigger like everywhere because I mean, that just isn't necessarily how some people want things to look. And so they were like, they were kind of like, because I ordered one thing for someone and one thing for someone else, and like they didn't order two things for me, so I'm guessing they ordered it from another Etsy user, uh, and um, and they're like, well, if it's the rainbow and trans one, it's for my friend. And I was like, you literally told me in like the first messages we had that it was for your kid and it was a 3X. So I'm a little confused and I was just like, I don't really know what's happening. And then they're like, so I think they got confused when they were ordering, or maybe when we had the first messages. But I'm just gonna be like, what size do you need? And then I'm gonna give them the option of like, hey, if it's yeah, it was really weird. I don't really know what it I guess if you order two cardigans and someone reaches out and is like, hey, the cardigan size, then maybe that's like a thing, but like yeah, it is very weird. So I was just like, I don't care who it's for. What size do I need to make this rainbow and trans colored cardigan? Pay me my money and let me live. Let me just make something and then we'll be fine. Okay, so now I'm done with a 3-inch packer. It looks so different because I just finished making 7-inch. and it's just like this is so different. It's so small. But I know some people really like the smaller Packers. For me, I like what I consider is an average size Packer. My Packer is about 5 inches. Um, that's my most selling size too. Um, but for me, it just feels like proportionate to my body. And I know that's kind of like the average size for AMAB people. But yeah, some people just really like the comfort of having something there. And like, that's part of the reason, like, for me, like, I like when I think about like my lower surgeries that I want to have, that I have to lose a lot of weight for, um, I'm like, I don't want like a metoidoplasty, which gives you like a micro penis, because you can be like, I have a dick, but you like, for me, what I want, like, if I'm gonna go through all that work, I want like an average size penis. Like for me, like that's what I need to get there. Like that's my goal. But if I can't do that, then I'm not going to do this middle stage because that just doesn't seem like it's worth it to me. So it's like a little bit all or nothing for me. But I hope this person gets back to me so I can start working on this. But okay, why is my messaging system so weird now? Random my message just like didn't pop up. That's really weird. I'm not sure if I should game or read. I don't know. I've been really into phone games lately, but I also read on my phone, so I can't really say one or the other. But I don't know. I've been having a really fun time playing Yahtzee on my phone. If you want to be friends on Yahtzee, I think it's called like Yahtzee with Buddies or something. But we can be friends. And then, so what sucks is like with my old phone number, um, I like had started like a group called Gangsta's Pair O Dice because like a lot of people do puns, and I was like, this is great. I can't believe no one used this before. And so my wife and I started this like family or whatever. But like when I got my new phone, I had to restart everything, and so I'm not at the level yet where I can join a family. So my other phone is in the family, but I'm not in the family, and it sucks. But I've just been playing. I have fun, and for me, like it helps because like I still like somewhere in the depths of my mind still have that mathematical statistical brain, but like it's really hard for me to like look at numbers and stuff like that. So for some reason, Yahtzee is like it's really really helpful for me to like break through some of the barriers I have with numbers and things like that. Because like when you go to school for statistics, I don't know, with every two moves, um, it has a lot of ads. And then there's like ads for like getting extra things and stuff. So yeah, there's a bunch of ads. I'll tell you that. But it's so fun. um, and I think if you only play with like real people, then you don't get the ads. But it's when you do like the tournaments and stuff that you have that. So but I enjoy it. But like when you do, what I was saying is like when you do school for statistics or math or anything like that, and you do, especially statistics and probability, you start the basis of that statistical learning with sick girl and hook up my foods. Okay, thank you so much, Kira, and like I mean, I don't know if you're the sick girl or if someone else is the sick girl, but whoever it is, I hope they feel better. Um, yeah, but charcuterie, I I really want. We have so many like charcuterie boards. I don't know why everyone wanted to get that for us for our wedding, but there's so many cute ones out now that are like spooky or cool or funny. I'm like, man, I kind of need that. Um, Also, if you are into like naughty things, um, so let me, so there is this person who makes like naughty, like tumblers, like, uh, uh, and I was looking at maybe getting a custom tumbler, but they're expensive. Um, but that doesn't mean that I am gonna stop because I'm really obsessed. And I tried to like look for like cheaper, like funny, um, uh, like tumblers or like cups or whatever. But I didn't find anything that really satisfied my need to be like a dirty, filthy bitch. So like they have ones with like dicks all over them, and they have ones that like say funny things when like you when they go out in like the sun or UV light. So I was gonna have them custom make one for me that was in like they do a lot of like glitters, which are so cool. And they have a bunch of glitter options. So I was like either black and orange or black and green and like glitter. And then I wanted it to just I didn't want the color changing shit because I want to have it exclusively. I have a changing uh, a rotation of cups that I use for water and stuff. But for this, I was like, I really like want to have just like my main cup here, and so I was gonna have it say Halloween Smut King, because like a lot of them are for like queens and like they're like more like feminine terms, and I just wanted to solidify that one, I love Halloween, two, I love smut, and three, I am a man. So, if anyone wants to donate, whatever reason, to me, so that I can buy this expensive ass tumbler, and I love smut. That's primary enjoyment. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna talk about something that, like, you know, it's very weird. So I don't know what's happening in certain states when it involves uh, what's another word for it? Um, Visual sexual relations happening on a website. If you know what I mean. Starts with P, sounds like corn. But in the state of North Carolina, they are doing this thing where because they like now have to really verify everyone's age, you have to view any website that is seen as pornographic. You have to submit a picture of your driver's license. What the fuck? Like, I mean, I understand like a bit of it, but like literally when I was 10 years old in AOL chat rooms and people were like ASL and I was like lying about my age, like no one cared about protecting me then. But now that I'm older and want to legally watch things that are on the internet. Why? And I even have done like incognito tabs. I've tried to do it on my phone, and I've done like a VPN, and like literally nothing works. So I know. And then like it's like, who has access to that information? Right? And it's like no one like I when I go on these corn sites, I go deliberately in my incognito tab because I don't want it to like affect my cookies like outside of outside of that. And like I like I do it with like so much anonymity, and literally they're trying to like take that anonymity away. Like, ew. I'm just like, fuck this. So, is that happening in any other states? Does anyone know? Am I crazy? Yeah, I mean, like, they're trying to make money. I mean, whenever you're on a site, they have like 50 fucking ads on there, and you click on one, you get a virus, and then it takes you to this like weird ass site. Like, I don't, I like, a lot of people get viruses off of those sites. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Yeah. So, like, no, I'm not going to give you that. I'm just going to ride this one out, for lack of a better way to put it. And I will continue to read my porn, but also, I don't know, maybe like subscribe to like some OnlyFans, or I don't know. I don't want to pay money for it. It feels stupid, but I don't know. Maybe that's where the future's going, right? But what if I subscribe and then I can't? Hey, you can watch weird stuff. I mean, it's your private time. As long as it's like, as long as it's legal, consensual. Um, no, but I think watching it is so different than like doing it, that you can feel things, but it's different than like being in a physical space. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm kind of like annoyed with how things are going. But yeah, it's just a very weird kind of thing. And if corn is not your thing, that's fine too. Um, I think it's a perfectly healthy manifestation of how um, we explore our bodies, other bodies, our attraction to other people. Yeah, yeah. Mel is Demi as well. Um, yeah, which I'm like I'm the complete opposite. um, but you know, that's just how it is. Ooh, I got some stuff to do a spell, which I'm super excited about. For those of you who don't know, corn is definitely not good for the. I mean, it basically doesn't digest. So yeah, it's a good measure of time, right? Like, you know, when you eat the corn, you know when it comes out. But anyways, um, what was I saying? So I got stuff for a spell, which I think should be mostly. I'm kind of winging it as I do most of my spells. I'm going with the vibes. I'm gonna kind of channel kind of what I want, and then do a spell with Mel. And we're not gonna do it on the internet. It's not the space to do it. But I got some incense. I got some crystals. I already have like most of the crystals I need, but I didn't have this particular crystal because I just generally don't. It's not the crystal that I connect with the most, but for this purpose, I think it'll be perfect. I need to get a fresh rose for it, and I need to muddle that with some spices. I'm just feeling like I kind of know how I want things to go. So I'm like, okay, like we're gonna do that. We're gonna do this. Burn a little sage. Cleanse the space. I thought about getting. They had a lot of pendulums at the store that I went to that were with this stone. And the thing is, I have two pendulums. I have one that's stone and one that is resin. Personally, I like the stone one better, but my friend gave me the resin one, so I keep it. I don't ever really use it because I don't like the weight. I like the weight of stone. Um, but I just didn't feel like I felt like some of these questions that I don't want to ask in like a setting with anyone else but me. I just like to let my pendulum talk to me. Mm, yeah. Um, yeah. I'm just kind of gonna. I might read some other similar spells, but then kind of make it my own. But yeah, so the problem, and I got some incense, which I don't normally do incense, mostly because it really bothers Mel's head. But because I want to do the spell with her, and the vibe of the incense was really like, yes. So I'm gonna wait for her to not have a killer migraine, because that might literally make her head combust. Um, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And yeah, so planning to do a little magic. Um, and I'm excited. Uh, I think, it's always good. So even if you don't believe in magic or spells or things like that, it's for me, it tends to be more about intention setting, and kind of being very mindful and letting yourself want things, and just setting intentions, being intentional about your actions. It can be very powerful, as a tool, for letting things happen, letting positivity into your life, letting love into your life, letting, whatever you want. I don't like spells that are for like material items or anything like that. To me, those aren't like pure of heart spells, and I like to try to keep things pretty pure up in here, surrounded by a cloud of hate. But yeah, so for me, those aren't my intentional spells. But yeah, so it's just about setting intentions. It's like setting a New Year's resolution. It's kind of like that. It's just like, hey, I want to focus on this and make it a goal. And so it doesn't really need to be anything more than that, right? So yeah, and I'm stoked about that. I think that'll be really positive. Now Mel's very like anti that world, not anti, but just not into it, if that makes sense. And so it takes a little bit of convincing sometimes to like get her to like let me do something. I think she has like partial belief in it, but she just doesn't like him very much. I have my own theories about that, which I will not share online. But um, but I think that like um, there's a lot of interconnectivity between magic. Uh, yeah, I said anti-magic or like whatever, but like really, it's just more like she's just not like a huge believer in it. So it's kind of like she doesn't always kind of get the point, but I think if we do it in a way, if I set it up in a way where it's very it's more about the process than the product. No worries. I'm pretty much never attentive, so um, it's more about the process and the point of what we're trying to do and the intention than the results or the belief in it. I think that will make a difference. So as long as we both try, I think that's important, right? Because if one person puts something in and the other person is like thinking the whole time, this is stupid, this is stupid, this is stupid. Well, of course, like their intentions aren't going to come. Their intentions are going to come through, and it's going to be a very lopsided kind of power thing. So hopefully she enjoys it, and we can get some good results out of it. But we'll see. Um, so I'm excited about that. Um, I was at a store that had Florida water, and it reminded me that I need to start using that again. I love, I love Florida water. I know it's not a part of everyone's practice. It's probably not a part of most people's practice, but for me, there's something very deeply cleansing about it, and just like the smell of it is so amazing. I'm so like attracted to that scent, and I never had tried it before. But I read actually a smutty story about like someone who did magic that used Florida water, and I saw it in a shop, and I was like, this like the idea of how they used it, where they kind of were, very methodical and ritualistic about it. I was like, that sounds like a cool ritual to check out. It's always interesting to see how other people do magic. And the minute that I opened that sucker up, I was like, fuck yeah, this is it. I love it. If you don't know what Florida water looks like, it's not actually like the swamp water. Just a heads up. So it is. So sorry. So it says Florida water cologne. This is actually from New York, so it's kind of hilarious. So it comes in a bottle like this. It's a plastic bottle, and so what it says has in it, it's alcohol denatured. You do get a little bit of that alcohol smell. So you can kind of view it as like a cleansing, kind of like you're using hand sanitizer, right? In a sense, it can kind of give you that mental image. And then water, fragrances, very vague, colors, and then, it's flammable. But what it does, I'm trying to describe, it kind of smells a little bit like a mouthwash, would not recommend. But it also has this maybe like clove or something smell. It's delicious. This bottle in particular is great because you can just get like a couple drops out at a time. You don't need to go, but it's not like you're just like dumping a shit ton. And for me, I just like to rub my hands with it when I'm starting a process. And then I just kind of move things over my shoulder. It's kind of like I'm taking all the energy in this space. I'm saying, you know what? I'm gonna ball it up and I'm gonna just toss it. And for me, and the smell is so nice. There's also like something citrusy in it on the once you get it on the hands. It smells so good. I love it so much. It's very inexpensive from where I get it from, so I don't know where you get it from. This is the Murray and Landman one. Um, it just smells really nice. It's from floridawater.com. But it's a nice, if you're looking for something to add to your ritual, if you're not a big sage person, or you like to do this in addition to sage, or like sometimes I think there's just this mental, like, I feel like we put so much energy out into the world with our hands that like sometimes that putting it on the hands, moving that energy around feels really positive and helpful. So if you want to check this out, I love it. I could see how it could not be for everyone, especially people who are very sensitive to scents. It doesn't smell artificial. I will say that. It doesn't have that weird like Bath and Body Works. Ugh. To me, like I said, it has that like borderline like Listerine minty smell, but then it also has a little bit of spice with like maybe clove or cinnamon, and then cultural appropriation. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been part of my practice. Who I learned from use sage, so um, by itself. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a great practice, especially like if you're about to do like maybe a tarot card reading and you want to just kind of make sure that the space is good. Like you do this before you touch your cards. It just feels really nice. You get this kind of like clean buzz. Like, okay, the movement of the deck is very natural. It doesn't bring energy from your day and all that shit. So it's cool. I like it a lot. Mel thinks it's stupid. I think it's mostly just the name. The name is terrible. I don't know why it's called Florida water. Because when you think about Florida water, you think about literally water from swamps. Or like water that has like trucker hats and fucking spray tan. I don't know. To me, like, satin spar wand that is good for that. Ooh, that sounds cool. I don't know what a spar wand is, but let me check that out. I'm gonna Google that. Satin spar wand. So I see like selenite or selenite, spar wands, but I'm not seeing anything in satin, so I'm having a really hard time envisioning what you have. It sounds cool. If you want to send me a picture, I would be all for that. Um, oh, okay. Satin spar is another part of Selena. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that. Welcome back, Lydia. So for me, part of my practice, so I have this big abalone shell that I got from a old friend many, many years ago. It's like whitish one. Okay, okay, cool. So this is white sage with rosemary, and the rosemary slows down the burn of the sage, which I like because we've had white sage uh, like bundles before, and they like the big ones. Sometimes they're so strong, but I absolutely hate the smell of desert sage, so I don't use that. And then I have a bit of Palo Santo. I like to burn this. It's just this is the newer part of my practice, newer in the past couple years. Um, but I like that earthy smell that I get from that. So I have these. And so, like, who I trained with was my friend, who is very entrenched in Native American culture. And so his practice is very based on Native um, and Indigenous people's practice of um, moving through spirit, you know. And so for me, it felt so natural to do, also as being a partially Native, um, and wanting to reconnect with that part of me. It's very important uh, to have that part as part of my practice. So yeah, just a little bit about me and what I'm doing over here. I will say I'm not the definitely not the most psychic person. Definitely not the most. I pretty much have no psychic ability whatsoever, but I'm very good at energy reading and chakra reading. Um, I'm good enough, at that. And so those for me are very important. So when I pick my stones and when I pick items that I include in my practice or I don't, it's all about the energy that I get from the item. And it's like, nor was I initiated. Okay, yeah, and that's totally fine. I think the thing about bushcraft or just magic in general is that so much of it is borrowed and used across cultures that, you know, it there's a difference between like appropriation and appreciation, but obviously you do what you're comfortable with. I've my moments of certain things where I like it could be seen as appreciation, but it could also be seen as appropriation, and I don't choose to participate in that. So I totally understand. You do what you feel comfortable with. That's what is important. Um, and then also just how you were trained, right? Or if you were trained, or if you kind of came into things your own, just all of that stuff is very important. What I would like to do is like, I don't know, like I feel like for me, like the exploration of magic. Um, and if anyone gets tired of like talking about this shit, we can totally move on. But for me, the exploration of magic in all of its different forms was actually a really good cultural learning opportunity for me. When I first started getting into it, I was in high school and we had this bookstore and there were all these things. I'm more of a loner witch. Hey, that's fine. A lot of witches are. um, but I was going into tarot, and I was going into astrology, and I was going into I Ching, and I was going into so many different aspects. And for me, it was very important to know. Um, yeah, exactly, and that's like such a big part of it, right? Um, but I had like heritage that I didn't even quite know I had until very recently. But I still could appreciate their contribution to my practice and make sure that I honored them in how I spoke about these things. But for me, like the practice and the study of it was so broad and so global, um, and I never wanted to not give credit where credit was due. And I think that that's what made the difference for me, was that I would be like, this is a practice specific, to this culture, and they've honored us by letting us in and letting us understand more. And I want to make sure that I honor them for being, these spiritual minds that I can learn from. So, bitch, a loner bitch. So so yeah, and like there's so many different practices, ways that you can do things. It's so cool. It's just really cool. Um, yeah, learning with my friend who's the one who taught me, and he wasn't into as much of like the exploration of all different facets of it as like I was. I'm kind of a loner bee as well. Yeah, me too. Um, but for me, it was just something interesting. I would try something, see if I connected with it. If I didn't, we'd move on. Um, it was all about the energy and the vibe for me. Very, very focused on the vibe. So, so yeah, so that's what I did, and him and I are very, very like spiritually connected. What's funny is like, so he is a psychic, um, great vision, unless other things are going on, which I won't get into. But but for some reason, so like, I'm Matt, I have to tell you, go somewhere else. um, but whenever we're together, because I'm so highly like empathic, or I was. I don't think I'm as empathic lately. I think I just kind of shut that part of my mind off. But anyways, but we would do things, and like when we were together, we were so our souls were so intertwined that like I like all of a sudden like became psychic or started to experience things that he was describing. Like I remember one time there was this like he had this moment. He was like for a long time. Like I don't do anything with spirits around me. That's not my thing, right? I believe in them. I just don't do anything with them. I can't see them. I can't talk to them. I don't. I don't really do anything with that. So, but like we were, a lot of times when we practice, we would have this kind of influx of people because like us together, we had such like a great energy, and so we had this influx of spirits, and he was like, "There's this guy," and he kept on like banging his head, and he was like, his head hurts so much. Like, why does his head hurt so much? And then um, my nose started bleeding, like instantly, like right after he said that. Like there was a knee change. I didn't get smacked in the face, nothing like that. My nose started bleeding, and I was like, it was a brain aneurysm. Like that's the kind of like shit that would happen all the time with us. So it was very powerful to be able to spiritually connect with someone like that and have that be like your mentor, but also your friend, also your one of your soulmates, uh, literally. And so we we you know we had some good times. But that's how I learned. He is still an incredible artist, um, but unfortunately, I think that his sight is clouded with life right now, and that sucks. But life is life. We do what we can, right? So yeah. So yeah. Just we're gonna just take a hard left, hard right, whatever. So I'm planning on starting drag this year, I hope, and I'm trying to slowly start prepping materials so it's not like a bam, huge cost all at once. But there's so many changes that need to happen for me to be able to know like measurements and shit like that. So, oh god. Yeah. Yeah. What was I saying? But yeah, so with drag, I want crochet to be like a big part of it. And the thing about crocheting garments is like literally everyone who crochet knows is that the fit is everything, and these things take time. So I wanted to get started on that, but I literally don't have any idea how my measurements are gonna be. So I'm gonna start with um, I'm gonna start with my bottom half, which sucks because like the thing is like people generally aren't looking at your bottom half when you're in female impersonation type drag. Um, I'm thinking about like performances I want to do and how I want to do gender play and all of that stuff. For me, like one of the things I wanted to do, like I had this thought, and I thought of a good drag name today, and I forgot it because I didn't write it down. Because I had one already picked out, but I don't vibe with it as much as I did previously. Um, so, uh, but it's still good, but I just don't vibe with it as much. But yeah, I could do my bottom half, I could do my pads, um, stuff like that. But I don't know what to do about the top half because even so, once I get surgery to chop these fuckers off, if I'm doing female impersonation, I probably will pad like a bra of sort, but I'm not gonna pad it to the size that I am now. Like, there's literally no reason that I would need to pad this big. Like, some people like really oversized balloon clown babies, but like for me, like that's not probably gonna be the vibe on most of my outfits. So, so yeah, I just gotta figure out what's proportional to my body because even right now I'm not proportional. Um, so I'm gonna try to think about things, but I was thinking about one of the things I might want to do is do start out with um like like female impersonation in the beginning of the number and then move into more of a drag king or just kind of more male expressive uh, thing where I went from having a full chest and uh, panties to having a dick out and and a chest with clear scars on it and things like that. Just to play with gender and be really fun. Um, so that's an idea I had. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's primarily what I'm thinking about. Oh, I'm seeing somewhat step one, the squares. I'm seeing this winter. Oh, this looks so good. Oh, you're such an artiste. I love it. Um, but yeah, I also want to get back into some more crazy creative stuff. I have this really cool fabric that I really want to use for a drag look. I originally bought it when I was in my OnlyFans era, and was gonna make something for myself. Or there was I was in a group where people who did OnlyFans were in it, and they would buy costumes and stuff to wear from people also in the group, and so I started to make costumes for people, um, and I was gonna make a harness set from this. It's kind of I think it's a thicker vinyl, and it's kind of this metallic yellow green, and it has great texture. It's beautiful. I literally have no idea how well it's gonna go through my machine. It shouldn't be too bad because it's not super thick, but I just don't know if it's gonna get be weird or anything. Um, and then I have a full ton of fleece, which I'm never gonna do drag in, but I like using fleece for a lot of things. So people who sew, and I'm gonna ask my sewing group this too, but people who sew, when you have fabric, cut up fabric for different projects and stuff like that, and you have either a large quantity or you have big fabric like fleece, how do you store it? I'm already trying to figure out my how to store my yarn, and then I have all these other crafts that I do, and a big space taker is sewing and fabric, so I don't know where to even begin with that because everything's such a different size. Um, the only thing I can picture, and I've mentioned this before about my grandma, is that my grandma was a seamstress and did apparel for my aunts and uncles and my mom when they were growing up. But then she also did a lot of quilting and stuff like that. And my grandpa would buy fabric at auctions, a lot of fabric at auctions and then just bring this huge load of fabric to her. So she literally had like a tractor trailer, but like with no like driving mechanism, so like a trailer, um, like full to like basically half full of like uh, fabric, um, and like she just had it everywhere, but she knew where everything was. Um, but I'm like, I don't have one of those. I don't have that much fabric anyways, but like I have enough where it fucking gets in the way of shit. Um, and then also it's harder to use like fabric scraps as easily as you do yarn scraps and stuff like that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I'll probably ask some folks in my sewing group how they store their fabric because I just don't know what to do. I just keep it in like individual project bags from Joanne. And that's not necessarily the best because I forget that there's fabric in there half the time. And so it's just kind of in the way. Yeah. So I'm gonna go. I'm very tired. So I'm gonna go eat dinner, and then I'm gonna probably sleep until someone will wake me up, or I'll never wake up, and that will be rad too. Anyways, yeah, I'm a diamond painting now too. Yeah, that can take up some space for sure. I'll talk to you all later. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll